The love of crossovers or cars with a good ground clearance is at an all-time high. Most buyers in the market currently want a car that is a practical, has some good ground clearance because of our roads. Over the last 1 year, I've reviewed more crossovers than any other car. Welcome to 026 Motoring. Once again, my name is Bill Sioturi, and today I'm going to take you through our 2018 Subaru Forester SK9 review. Remember, 026 Motoring is a tried and tested platform that makes your car ownership journey easy. So if you want to purchase a car, you can shoot us a message or write us on messages on WhatsApp or ring us, say that we're going to make your car ownership journey easy. Basically, we'll give you car reviews, that is in-depth reviews about cars, how they stack up against the rivals, what to expect in the car ownership journey, that is a maintenance cost and the reliability. So if you want to purchase a car, shoot us a message, and we are going to actually scout a clean car for you, run all the pre-purchase assessment tests on that car, so that your car ownership journey becomes easy. So this is the Subaru Forester SK series. Previously, I've actually brought reviews of the previous generations of the Subaru Forester. The Subaru Forester started with the SF version in I think 1998. Then we had the SG, which I actually brought, and I think the SG is one of the most loved generations of the Subaru Forester. Then next after the SG, we had the SH, and then the SJ, and then these are SK. So if you want a review of maybe the Subaru Forester, maybe the SJ, I've actually reviewed the Subaru Forester XT. You can check that review on the channel, or even the SG5. Now, this Subaru Forester SK series competes with cars like the Mazda CX-5, which is actually the best-selling crossover in the Kenyan market as at now. Cars like the Toyota RAV4, the Nissan X-Trail, the Mitsubishi Outlander, Suzuki Scudo. Those are the cars that actually face off with this Forester. And if you like something like the Volkswagen Tiguan. So what will actually make you buy a Subaru Forester, and or possibly how does it stack up against the competition? Let's find out. So how does this Subaru Forester SK look like in terms of the design element? Now when you're looking at this car, there are of course some revisions, or it has been redesigned from the previous SJ version, and you can tell from the basic outlook. Of course, there have been rumors out there that Subaru is nowadays a Toyota because it has they have actually forfeit the previous rugged looks, and it's now looking like some soft crossover. But it's basically because it should be bigger somewhat for practicality, and of course they normally try to shed some weight because of fuel efficiency. Now when you're looking at this car, it has some yellow finishes all over, because this one actually is an X-brake variant. Now let's start with this up front here. You have these LED daytime running lights, of course with these you have these LED headlamps, of course with these daytime running lights. You have a fog lights down here. Of course I miss the traditional the stretching daytime running light that used to be in the XT. It's no longer here. You have this yellow finish here, of course because this is an X-brake. You have this 6-star logo here, of course, to signify that these are Subaru, and these are grill here, which is somewhat aggressive. Now when I'm looking at this car, it's let me say somewhat boxy, and it has grown a little bit, of course, for practicality. When you're looking at the wheels, these are actually 17-inch alloy wheels, but there are versions which actually come with let me say 18-inch wheels. But 17-inch wheels are the best if you're going off-road, because the rubber is thicker, and it's actually you'll realize that a thicker rubber will always be more comfortable than a lower profile one. Now this is how the car looks like on the side profile. You have this side mirror winkers, you have these plastic finishes down here, yellow of course. And when you're looking at this windscreen here, there is something I really want you to see. This car has a gazillion of cameras and sensors here. It's because of the Subaru eyesight system. So the sensors here actually can detect the car ahead of you, so that you can maintain a safe distance, and it actually helps when you are utilizing the cruise control function. So the cruise control function and the Subaru eyesight system work courtesy of these sensors here. So it's among the best systems I've actually seen out there, especially when it comes to collision mitigation system. So this car actually also comes with these roof rails here. So if you want to install a roof rack for your luggage, that is in case the boot becomes somewhat small, or you want to install something for camping, they actually come in handy. So when I'm looking at the design of this car, of course it has been redesigned completely, and you may say that Subaru is losing its traditional style, but that is how cars should be designed nowadays, especially because of practicality. This is how the cabin styling of this 2018 Subaru Forester SK looks like, and you can actually tell that for the X brake it's quite loaded with a bunch of features, because when you are starting with this steering wheel here, you have this adaptive cruise control. You even have a button for a heated steering wheel. Down here you have a S for sport intelligent mode. You have these paddle shifters behind this steering wheel. Of course, because this car comes with a CVT gearbox, you may want to mimic a manual transmission or some fake gear shift ratios. Now on this door here, you can see set 1 or 2 basically to tell you that this car has electric seats with a memory function. So if you are 2 people using the car, you can set this seat to the level you want, and then when you hop into the car, you can just press 1 or 2, and then it will get you back to your normal driving position. So this car actually comes with the front heated seats for the driver here and the co-driver. So in case the temperatures are extremely low or it's cold, you can actually heat your seats so that you can actually make yourself comfortable when driving this car. So you can heat your seats, you heat the steering wheel, so that you can have a good environment for driving. So the yellow stitching you are seeing, the yellow finishes in this car, it's because it's an X brake version. So when I'm looking at this cabin styling of this 2018 X brake, actually I can tell that it's quite loaded with many features. Actually the only thing that it's lacking in this version of this car, basically it's the sunroof, and let me say that the electric tailgate or the electric boot opening. That is the only thing I'm missing here when I'm trying to compare the features of this car versus the Subaru Forester XT, the fully loaded version I reviewed last year. The only thing that it's missing, it's actually this is a sunroof and that electric tailgate. Everything else, this car actually has it. So if you don't need a sunroof, this is actually the best you can ever get in this Subaru Forester SK series. So this is a push to start car. That is how you start it, and then this is how it looks like in terms of when you are actually starting the car. And in terms of safety features, this car actually packs quite a number of safety features, because you have this Subaru eyesight system here, and you have this lane departure warning here, you have this collision mitigation system here. So basically when I'm looking at the safety rating of the Subaru Forester, it's actually among the best in the class. And so when I'm looking at the features in this car, driver assistant features are from cruise control, lane departure warning, parking sensors, the eyesight collision system, I can actually say that it's quite loaded. Now apart from the features, when you're purchasing a crossover, you may want something that is practical. How does it look like in terms of space? So when you're looking at this headroom, it's actually pretty good for an average person like me. I don't think that I'll have a problem. The knee room is okay, considering that this is my driving position, but assuming I push this seat backwards, if you are a tall person, you can actually see that you actually have a very good amount of leg room. So that is how it looks like in terms of practicality in this car. So if you want to purchase the 2018 Subaru Forester SK series, what are the engine choices do you have? So under the hood of this 2018 Subaru Forester SK series, you are having a 2.5 liter natural aspirated 4-cylinder boxer engine. It's actually called the FB25 engine, and it's applied in cars like the Subaru Outback. Actually, if you are looking for a Subaru Outback review, I've actually done a review on that one. You can check it on the channel. Now apart from this FB25 engine, you also have an FB20, which is a natural aspirated petrol engine. That is the second engine option. Now the third engine choice is a hybrid flavor, which actually incorporates a natural aspirated petrol engine with a hybrid, of course, to give you better fuel efficiency. So if you want to purchase a 2018 Subaru Forester, there are actually 3 engine choices: FB25, FB20, and that hybrid version. Something you may really want to learn is that coming to this generation, the SK series, Subaru actually dropped the previous FA20, which used to be turbocharged. So currently the best engine you can actually have is this FB25, and I'm going to tell you why it's better than the hybrid version, and why it's better than the FB20. Now when you're looking at the power output of these FB25 engine, you're looking at around 175 brake horses and around 250 Newton meters of torque. Those are the power ratings of these FB25 engine. Now you can actually tell that that may not be, it is not that powerful, but from my experience with the Subaru Outback, that engine is actually sufficient for day-to-day driving. Now this FB25 engine is married to a CVT gearbox, or if you like, a continuous variable transmission, which sends power to all the four wheels via Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system. And for this SK9, it's actually called the SK9 because it has a 2.5 liter. There is no manual transmission for this SK9. Now, why am I saying that this SK9 is the best Subaru Forester you can purchase, especially if you want to buy a 2018 Subaru Forester? It's because when I'm looking at the longevity of the powertrain itself, this one has a 2.5 liter, which is more powerful than the 2 liter. Now that is the reason I was saying this one is better than the 2 liter, because it's actually more powerful and it makes more sense on this car because you have a good power to weight ratio. The 2 liter version, it's actually somewhat lazy to some extent. You may not like it, especially when it comes to long distance travels. Now comparing this car to this FB25 to the hybrid version, of course you should learn that a hybrid will fail at some point. So that means that this one has less things that can actually go wrong. That's why I was saying this FB25 is the best engine when I'm looking at that Subaru Forester SK engine choices. Something you may really want to learn about this Subaru Forester SK9 is maybe fuel consumption. This 2.5 liter is mated to a CVT gearbox, which actually, let me say, it's a clever, or it's an intelligent gearbox. It's at the right place at the right time, which actually makes it efficient for its size, because of the smooth transition of the gears. This car can actually hit around 10, 11, actually let me say 11.5 kilometers per liter if you drive it sensibly. From the Subaru Outback, I've seen figures around 10 point something, but this one I can actually say that it should record slightly better figures because it's actually lighter than a Subaru Outback. So this one actually will be getting you figures between, in traffic it can drop to something like 9.5, but on the highway you can actually see something like 11.5 figures. Anything beyond that is actually unrealistic. Now this car has a CVT gearbox, and that takes me straight into the reliability metric. Now when I'm looking at a CVT gearbox versus a conventional automatic gearbox, of course CVTs have better fuel efficiency because of the smooth transition of the gears. But it's normally bad news when it comes to longevity, because when I'm looking at the CVT gearbox here versus something like a 6-speed gearbox in a Mazda, the 6-speed gearbox has a better reliability index than this one. But still, when I'm looking at the CVT here, because it's a high torque CVT versus what maybe a Nissan X-Trail has, this one actually is stronger. So I'll say that the biggest culprit that can actually fail in this car, and even for the previous generation, the SJ series, and even from the number of complaints I have in our inbox, is that the CVT at some point may misbehave. So that is the biggest culprit that can actually go wrong in this Subaru Forester SK series. So when I'm looking at the reliability of this car, when it comes to the engine, it's pretty okay, but the gearbox, you actually have to learn how to live with it. Of course, I've driven an Outback with around 250,000 kilometers on the clock with a CVT gearbox. That should actually tell you that if you maintain it well, it can actually last. So another tip you may want to learn about a CVT gearbox is that the manufacturer recommends that you flush the oils when they are approaching a mileage of around 150,000 kilometers. So once you do that CVT flush and they use the right CVT oil, it should actually live longer, because when you're looking at the replacement cost of the CVT gearbox, the gearbox of the Subaru Forester is the most expensive in the class, because you're looking at around 300,000 shillings. So you better maintain it properly before it breaks down. How does the price tag of the 2018 Subaru Forester SK look like? So the market price of a Subaru Forester SK series currently is around 3.7, 3.8. Some have actually crossed the 4 million mark. So when you're looking at that price tag, it may be actually be somewhat higher than other crossovers in the market, because it's slightly higher than what the CX-5 will be, the CR-V, some versions of the Outlander. So when you're looking at this car, is it value for money? Now there is something that Subaru will give you that other cars will not give you. Something like all-wheel drive is actually standard in all the Subaru Foresters. That is a feature that you may like. But now when I'm looking at the 4 million mark, it may look a little bit somewhat on the higher side. But if you want a crossover that has a standard all-wheel drive, the engine is actually decently powered, then it's definitely a worthy pick. But if you want something that is a little bit more stylish and maybe more powerful, you can actually look at something like the VW Tiguan at the same price tag. That is the 2 liter, not the 1.4 liter. And maybe if you may want something that may be appealing to the eye, maybe a CX-5 may be something that you may want to consider. But generally, this car is among the best cars in its class when it comes to off-roading, because of the standard all-wheel drive and when you engage the X mode. And when you're looking at the practicality, it's still as good as other cars in the same price tag. The only thing that you may not like about this car is that their CVTs have actually been problematic to some level, and then the price tag may be actually on the higher side. I think you've learned a thing or two about this 2018 Subaru Forester SK series. If you want information about the previous generations, you can check their reviews on the channel and how it stacks up against the other cars, maybe the CX-5, Outlander, X-Trail, Harrier. All those reviews are actually on our 0 to 60 motoring YouTube channel. If you want to purchase a car, also remember to shoot us a message or ring us, either we can help you with the pre-purchase assessment. We also scout for clean cars. If you want a Subaru Forester, we can actually scout a clean car for you. Alright guys, I think that is enough for today. I'll see you on the next one on 0 to 60 motoring.